Hello and welcome to one more episode on Niveshka 123. My name is Sumit Lakhotia. Today we're going to be talking about expense ratio. Now, what exactly is expense ratio? You must have heard about it when investing in mutual funds. Simply, expense ratio, break it up into two parts, expense and ratio. Just ignore the ratio part. That is not important to focus on. Expense, it is your expense. मतलब आपका क्या खर्चा हो रहा है when you are investing in a mutual fund. Now you will ask, listen, when I invest in a mutual fund, I take this amount that I'm putting divided by the NAV, I get the amount of units that I'm investing in. Yes, but the expense ratio is not over and above that. It is included in that. What that means is that when you're paying the NAV, it includes the expense ratio in that. The idea is this is an expense that the mutual fund company does to run that mutual fund, to manage your money. An expense ratio is, they give it as a percentage, so you know that a percentage of whatever amount that you are putting in that mutual fund, that gets deducted towards this this mutual fund that you're investing in, towards this expenses. How does that work? um, the expense ratio, firstly, so let's say these expenses are capped by SEBI, which means they have a maximum. They can't go over and above. So if it's an equity mutual fund, the maximum can be 2.25%. If it's a non-equity, it can be maximum 2% only. So what happens is, the idea is, if you look at it this way, if you're investing in a mutual fund that is actively managed, which means where the fund manager is doing a lot of research, it's talking to people, he or she is deciding every day what to buy, what to sell, etc. Obviously, his or her effort is more, therefore their expenses, their charges are more, so the expense ratio of that fund will be higher. If you compare it to like a index fund, then the index fund is basically a passive fund, as what we call, because the fund manager is not actively deciding what to buy, what to sell. They just see, okay, if the index is made up of these stocks, I have to buy that. If these stocks move out of the index, I have to sell that. It's simple with that. So the expenses, the expense ratio of an index fund is lower. That is capped at 1%, which means it can't be more than 1%, can't be your expense, can't be your expense ratio in that. Now, importantly, there is something that you must have heard of: regular plan and direct plan. What does that mean? Direct plan is when you, as an investor, if you're in financially savvy, you understand the market, you understand things, you understand investing, you understand financial planning, you go on your own, you can directly go to the website of the mutual fund and buy and invest in the mutual fund, or buy the units. So you can pay, you get the direct NAV, the direct plan NAV, which means you are not paying the commission of a mutual fund distributor. If you take the regular plan, you are paying the commission of the mutual fund direct distributor. You are not directly paying it to the mutual fund distributor, but it gets reflected in that. So if you go online and you check, you will see the expense ratio of whatever mutual fund you take. If you take the regular plan, you will get a certain percentage as the expense ratio. If you take the direct plan of the same mutual fund, you will get a certain lower percentage as the expense ratio. The NAV will also be different of both these funds. So that's, sometimes if you see the difference, this is because of the difference. So does that mean that, just go with the lower expense one? Why should you pay extra? No, sometimes if you are a new investor, if you're a basic investor, it's better to pay that expenses of the mutual fund distributor, because then that distributor can help you, guide you as to the correct funds to invest in. Also, they do a lot of work, they manage a lot of things, of the paperwork, the investing, all of that. They provide you with regular reports so that you are able to track your investments and you don't have to do it on your own, and they do it. So that's the benefit of that. It's pros and cons. You have to see which side are you more comfortable with. Also, importantly, when you look at index funds, so let's assume it's a Nifty 50 index fund, all right? And if you look at the Nifty 50 ETF, the expense ratio of the ETF will be lower than the expense ratio of the index fund. Again, does that mean that, hey, should I just invest in the ETF? You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at the whole story, because if it is an ETF, as you know, an ETF means that you can buy the units and sell the units like shares on the stock market. Therefore, when you are buying and selling ETF units, you are also paying brokerage, like you would pay when you're buying and selling shares. So therefore that also adds up. So you have to again weigh the pros and the cons and see which one you should go in, whether it should be for index funds or whether it should be the ETF of that index. It all depends on the whole story. This is where you need, if you ever need, you should talk to a financial advisor or to a mutual fund distributor who can guide you about all these nitty-gritties. But at least now you know about expense ratio, and most importantly, you know that it is not necessary that if it is a lower expense ratio, that means that you're getting it at a discount or you're getting it at a cheaper price and that you should buy. No, absolutely not. You have to check what is that mutual fund investing in, what is the track record of the mutual fund, what is the track record of the fund manager. You have to check all of this. It makes no sense to pay less fees but get a bad product. It's like saying, okay, I'll pay less and buy a second-hand car. I won't pay more and buy a brand new car. But if that second-hand car, yes, you're buying it cheap, but if it has a lot of issues, you have to repair it every few months, then in the end your bill is much larger than if you had just bought that new car. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please do subscribe and follow my channel, and stay tuned for more videos coming up here on Niveshka 123. Thank you so much for watching.